7.4.1 involves 7.1. 7.4.2 involves 7.3, what we just finished. So Monday, essentially, we're going to be coming back at it with common denominators and adding and subtracting fractions. So that's why I said at least you have the weekend to try to, if you're having problems, get that taken care of. A complex fraction is a fraction divided by a fraction. So here's the main fraction bar, and there is a fraction in the numerator. The fraction here in the denominator is c over 1. Even if you don't see it, it's there. Here is a pure fraction divided by a fraction. Here it's a fraction divided by a fraction, but if I wanted to look at it, this is really a over 1. So that becomes a fraction divided by a fraction. Now you already know how to do this. And you're saying, what do you mean? Well, if I look at this arithmetic problem, which is 1/4 divided by 1/8, if I write it as I read it, it's 1/4 divided by 3/8. Do we know how to work this problem? Yeah, it's just invert and multiply. It's just the same thing written in a different fashion. So that I now invert the 3/8 to 8/3, reduce, multiply out. The same thing's going to be true here. I have 3 over x minus 1 divided by 2 over x minus, or x squared minus 1 divided by 2 over x minus 1. This gives me a 3 over x squared minus 1 divided by 2 over x minus 1. This is a 7.1 problem. Now we invert and multiply, factor and reduce, and then you end up there. So we turned it into something which is 7.1, which is something you know how to do. So here we go. Suppose what I have is 3 over xy squared, 15x divided by 14y. Well, this is the same thing as saying 3 over 8y squared times 14y over 15x. Oh, shoot. It's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, I didn't want to do it the way I did it. And unfortunately, this has to be the one that's going to go up, because I don't think it until I can get it fixed. Divided by 15x over 14y. Now this turns into 3 over 8y squared times 14y over 15x. What happens is on the last problem I'm going to skip this step. I didn't want to do it until I completed 2 problems. Because it's just an invert the denominator and multiply. So now I can reduce out anything that can be reduced out. So that, excuse me, 3 divides 15 5 times, divides 3 once. 2 divides 8 4 times, divides 14 7. Y takes out one of the 2 y's, and then I just have an x left over. So my answer ends up being 7 if I multiply over 20yx, or 20xy. So on this one, I write it as it says, which is 4x over 3y squared. The big division bar means divided by 4x squared minus 2x over 9y to the 4th That's now a 7-1 problem. So we invert and multiply 4x over 3y squared times 9y to the 4th over 4x squared minus 2x factor and reduce. The only thing I have to factor is this denominator right here. So this becomes 4x over 3y squared times 9y to the 4th over 2x, greatest common factor, 2x minus 1. Now remember, in multiplication, this becomes one big fraction. Oh, thank you. 2 divides 4 twice. The x's take each other out. 3 divides 9 3 times and divides 3 once. Y squared and y to the 4th. I've got 2 y's and I have taking 2 from there. And then that's all she wrote. This becomes 2 times 3, which is 6 y squared. 3 is gone, y squared is gone, 2 is gone, x is gone. I'm left with 2x minus 1. Now, as you notice, when I write this as division, this is the guy that he gets flipped. So I can skip that first step with the division symbol and just say this turns into 2x squared over x squared minus 13x plus 40 times, flip that denominator, x minus 8 over 6x. Now remember, this x minus 8, because of the subtraction, it forms a block. So you can't reduce it. This gives me a 2x squared. The denominator factors into x minus 5, x minus 8, times x minus 8 over 6x, reminding myself that that's a set of parentheses. The x minus 8's reduce out. That leaves me with a 1. 2 divides 2 once, divides 6 3 times. This x takes out one of those 2, leaving me with an x. So as I multiply across, I get 1 times x times 1, which is x. And I get x minus 5 times 3. And there it is. So these actually turn into 7-1 problems just by inverting and multiplying if you have a single fraction divided by a single fraction.